Al-Juwayni, Juwayni, Dhia al-Din al-Malik ibn Yūsuf al-Juwayni al-Shafi'i Persian, imam al Haramayn Dildan bdlmlkh, bien is Jawini shfy, 17 February 1028 20 August 1085, 419-478 was a Persian Sunni Shafi'i jurist and mutakallim theologian. His name is commonly abbreviated as al-Juwayni. He is also commonly referred to as Imam al Haramayn, meaning leading master of the two holy cities, that is, Mecca and Medina. Biography. Al-Juwayni was born on 17 February 1028 in a village on the outskirts of Nasabur called Bushtanikin in Iran. Al-Juwayni was a prominent Muslim scholar known for his gifted intellect in Islamic legal matters. Al-Juwayni was born into a family of legal study. His father, Abu Mohammed Abdallah b. Yūsuf al-Juwayni, was a well-known master of law in the Shafi'i community as well as a Shafi'i teacher, and his older brother, Abul Hasan Ali al-Juwayni, was a Sufi teacher of hadith. Al-Juwayni grew up in Nasabur, an intellectually thriving area drawing scholars to it. Naturally, Juwayni did not have to search far for his education. At the time, the teachings of the Shafi'i school were closely linked to the Asharite theology, which al-Juwayni decided to study for several years after the death of his father. He took over for his father at this point and began his teaching career at only 19 years of age. The Seljuks at the time were moving quickly in their conquest of eastern Iran, and Tughril Beg became the first sultan. Tughril Beg was a Mutazili Hanafi adherent, and at the time, the Asharite theological camp and the Hanafi school of legal thought shared a hostile relationship based in differences of opinion regarding doctrine, and when Tughril Beg was named wazir in Nishapur, he forbid al-Juwayni to practice or teach the Ash'ari theological perspective. Al-Juwayni traveled to Mecca and Medina in search of an interim home. He taught and studied there in Hijaz for 4 years. During this time, al-Juwayni became hugely popularized because of his father's prominence in the scholarly world and his exile. He gained a large following and was invited back to Nishapur by the founder of the Shafi'i Madrasa, Khwaja Nizam al-Mulk. Upon his return, Juwayni was appointed to teach the doctrine of the Ash'arites at the Nizamiya Madrasa until he died in 1085 CE, which would turn out to be about 26 years. Al-Juwayni spent his life studying and producing influential treatises in Muslim government. It is suspected that most of his works below came out of this period, after his return from Mecca and Medina. Al-Juwayni was the teacher of one of the most influential scholars in the Islamic tradition, particularly Sufism, al-Ghazali. Following are some of the famous remarks of al-Juwayni towards al-Ghazali. Al-Ghazali is a quenching sea in which you can drown in. You buried me while I am still alive. Can't you wait until I'm dead? By this al-Juwayni meant, your books outshine me. Doctrine. Al-Juwayni, a Sunni jurist and mutakallim, or scholar engaged in the study of theological principles, spent his life deciphering between what a Muslim ought and ought not to do. He was said to be stubborn and accepting of any legal speculation whatsoever. His basic principle was that the law should not be left to speculation on any grounds. Rather, texts hold the answers to any possible legal debate in some capacity or another. He was a master of the Quran and hadith texts, in addition to being well versed in the particular school of Shafi'i and theological practices of the Asharite persuasion. Works. Al-Juwayni's primary work, Kitab al-Irshad ila Kawati al-Adala fi Uzul al-Itikad Arabic, KHTB LRSHD like QWTLDLH, fi SWLLTQD. His guidebook to conclusive proofs for the principles of belief helps to illustrate his doctrine. It is intended to outline exactly what has been proven, what can be proven, and how those things can be proven. He focuses much of his attention on God and the fundamental Islamic principle that God is the only and all-powerful creator. He explains that we are often caught up in a temporally contingent existence, lost in continuity, but that we should realize God's ability to interrupt this continuity at any time. Al-Juwayni focuses a similar amount of attention on legal methodology and is particularly concerned with the methods for discerning difficult debates. He explains abrogation, for example, in great detail. In fiqh usul, kalam, gif al-umam jif elm, mudhith al-kalkim jif lkhlq, nihayat al-matlab fi durayat al-madhab nhy, at lmtlb fi dry at lmdhhb. The end of the quest in the knowledge of the Shafi'i school, his magnum opus, which Ibn Asakir said had no precedent in Islam. Mukhtasar al-Nihaya, al-Barhin, al-Tawqiz, al-Warakat, al-Shamil, Kitab al-Irshad ila Kawati al-Adla fi Usul al-Itikad, shortly known as al-Irshad, al-Aqidah al-Nizamiyya. The book Farid al-Simtain is sometimes mistakenly thought to be authored by the Sunni Abdul-Malik al-Juwayni. It was in fact authored by another Sunni scholar, Ibrahim bin Mohammed bin Himawayh al-Juwayni, who died in 1322, AD 722 AH.